guys for being here. I love hearing all of the voices. More importantly, love seeing your faces. We have a very packed full meeting that we really believe is going to help us as we go into 2022 and further as we start to possibly, maybe, potentially see a shift in our market. Now, before we kind of get this started, I just wanted to pose the question. When I say the word shift, when we talk about our industry, what do you guys think of? What comes into your brain? Change. Change. Okay.
Opportunity.
Opportunity. Okay. What else? Yes, conversations with clients for sure.
Evaluation.
Evaluation. Okay, that's a good one. Okay. So you're going to hear the word shift an awful lot. More than we have, right? So I've been in the industry since 2015, and I've been literally waiting for the shift. And I think, you guys, that we might actually be experiencing movement in our market. So it's important that we help you guys identify where you have opportunity in your skills, your knowledge, so that we can close those gaps and bunker down your business so that regardless of what the market is doing or economics, you guys are positioned to ride that storm very well, right? So we know that in a shifting market, it actually is opportunity. KW got their mark in a shifting market 30 some years ago and took over a competitor that flies a balloon, and won't name names. And we have been able to keep that market share since then. So it is proven that if you can capture market share in a shifting market, you get to keep it. So what we want to do is help you guys identify what skills you guys need. I know for a lot of us, things like price adjustments, learning how to truly market a listing. I remember in 2020, I had a new agent call me, and I'll never forget it. She's hysterical. She just took her first listing. She's crying on the phone, and she's like, Lindy, my listing has been live for 4 hours, and I don't have an offer yet. But that's real, right? We've got agents that have only been in the industry and have only experienced a market like the one we're in, right? There's a thing about having to know how to properly price a listing and market a listing to get it sold, because it doesn't always fly off the shelf when things start to adjust. So there's a reason why we're digging deep on the shift itself and going through each tactic and helping you guys figure out what you need to do to continue bunkering your business. Got a really solid panel here today that's going to be able to help share their experiences and educate along the way as well. So, is John in the box? Yeah. Okay, so John.
John in the box.
John in the box.
Hi.
Hey, John.
I'm on the hot seat, huh? So I wanted to talk a little bit about this issue of wills versus trusts. And there's been a lot of misunderstandings and confusion about them, and especially in taking listings. And if Form 17 is going to be required, all that stuff. So I want to break these up into two separate things because they are very separate things. Okay, so that's one of the confusions I think we sometimes get, is that we think, well, either way, whether it's a will or whether it's a trust, a living trust, a family trust, whatever it is, they're the same thing. Somebody's died, right? Somebody's passed away. Now the property has to be disposed of. So, so the first things that I want to address are the four things about wills. So I want to put the trusts on the back burner for a minute because I think I have a way to really explain that clear. The four things about the trusts are: first, the name of the owner that you're going to put in the listing, that you're going to put in a purchase and sale contract, whatever you're going to do. It's going to be the estate of whoever that deceased person's name is, right? So the estate of, and then whatever that is. That's if there's a will. And that means if there's a will, that there's either an executor or an administrator who's handling that will, who we'll call the representative, the personal representative. The second thing to know is that the signer on all the documents, the listing agreement, purchase and sale contract, is going to be the personal representative of that estate. And they're only on the purchase and sale, they're only going to sign one place. And that's at the bottom of the purchase and sale, the first page of the purchase and sale contract, for example, Form 21. they would sign below for their own name as a representative, and then below their name, they would put personal representative of the estate of, or they would put something to that effect. But, you know, sometimes a lawyer will give you the directions as to how they want you to sign it, but otherwise you just do it this way. Have them do it this way. So they're only going to sign in that one spot on the purchase sale contract that incorporates all the other initials on all the other 5 pages, plus all the addenda that are there are just initials, and they'll just put their own initials. That personal representative will just put their own initials there. They don't have to put as personal representative of the such and such estate. No, they don't have, they do that one time, page 1 of Form 21, and then everything else is incorporated, so you just have them initial. Make sure, thirdly, that you keep a copy of all of the legal documentation that is given to you to be that listing agent, or to be that, you know, however that is going to be handled. You are going to be probably having to pull that out a few times. So you want to make sure that you have that in file, ready to pull out and use. Also put it in the command file, the master file. We want to have that also for the office in case a legal challenge comes up. And then the fourth one, the issues is that if it is the personal representative of an estate, which means there was a will, then there is an exception, I should say, for Form 17. So that is RCW 64.06.010, and it's choice 6 of 7. So of the 7 choices in that RCW that are exceptions, we would not normally be involved in 5 of them. So there's only 2 that as real estate agents we'd normally be involved with, and this is one of them. When it is a will, when it is an executor who's handling the estate, or whoever's been assigned as a personal representative for that estate. But then the question, so now I want to do a distinction for number 5. Okay, so number 5 is the distinction. So a trust is something that is completely different, because this is not the property of the deceased person. This is what I had to do to myself to get it to click in. I'm hoping this clicks in for you all. This seller is not the estate. The person who is now passed away, who is now deceased, prior to passing away, that person deeded the property, transferred title of the property to an entity, like a business entity, but it's called a trust. So now the owner of that property is no longer that person who's going to be deceased. No, the property belongs to an entity. So when you ask the question, you know, is this an estate? No, it's not an estate, because that person, whether they pass away or whether they're still alive, they have no interest in the property. The property belongs to a trust, an entity. And there's no exemption in Form 17 for a trust entity. So does the person, the trustee, who's going to be handling the sale of the property, need to fill out Form 17? Yes, is the answer. They actually have 2 choices. So one of those is that they can either fill out the Form 17, which is going to be a whole lot of I don't knows, I'm guessing, right? In most cases, I don't know. Or require in the listing that offers are only going to be accepted with a waiver of the Form 17. So on page 6, the final page of Form 17, there are 3 buyer signature lines. And the one that the buyer would be signing would be the 3rd and final one for the buyer to sign, which would be waiving their right to even receive the property disclosure form. Okay, so that's the third one of those. Now, in waiving their right to receive it, that means that if the seller does know of any environmental hazards on the property, they have to disclose those. Okay, if there aren't any, then it's not relevant. But otherwise, that section 8, I think it is, of the Form 17 for the environmental issues would have to be addressed in there, and it would be best to have those addressed, those questions addressed with don't knows or whatever on them. But those are the choices, because a trust is not have anything to do with the individual who has passed away. The trust is entitled to the property. It's not an estate. So this is where I had to make that connection in my own mind. It's not an estate. It is simply owned by a trust who's now selling the property. The trustee is probably the one who's authorized. Again, you would want to keep that authorization document, get that from them and keep that in your file. But it's handled as a regular sale, as if it's a real person, but it's an artificial person, just like a corporation or any other business entity would be an artificial person. So is a trust. So when we create that separation in our mind, it makes it easier to understand, how that trust is to be dealt with. And then if there's a will, then you're just going to follow work with that executor and have that personal representative do the signing, in the name of that trust. Okay. Any questions that I can answer for anybody?
Pretty quiet over here, John.
I have one. So there is an environmental issue. The Form 17 basically has a trustee has simply, I don't know. So basically, but the buyer must sign off on the Form 17, and then later finds out that there is something environmental. Okay, so you can't use anything in Form 17 in the court of law. It would have to have something in inspection. And so simply could cancel the transaction if they found that there was some problem with the environmental issue. So caveat emptor, they just need to do their own diligence from a buyer standpoint. And even if the trustee knew that there was something there, they're not responsible for it. Yes.
No, if the trustee knows that there's an environmental issue there and doesn't disclose it, then they're going to be held liable for it for not having disclosed it, because really those issues on the Form 17, which are for the environmental, they are not exempt. So they cannot be waived, is what I should say. They cannot be waived. So that the trustee is going to have to answer those, and if they don't know, then really they don't even have to answer if they don't know any of those. But what you just said was, if they know of something, is there liability for them? Yes, they need to address. If they are aware of one of those issues that is an environmental factor, then they are required to disclose it.
I have a question. It seemed like you suggested that if it's a trust situation, that the listing agent or the seller of the trust could say that they'll only accept offers that have waived the Form 17, like that's a condition of accepting an offer.
Right.
Is that kind of a scary situation for a listing agent or a seller to impose that requirement at a time?
Yeah, good question. I've thought through that, and I don't believe that it's an issue, because as the owner of the property, they can put certain requirements in there that they're going to deal with an offer. So they're letting them know up front, if a offer comes in that doesn't waive Form 17, we're not going to accept your offer. I think that's fine to do. So It's just letting them know up front, if you want this to ever go through, you're going to have to waive Form 17. I missed something.
Lindy, we have one more question.
Yeah, of course.
What if someone has a trust that they have not moved their house into the trust yet, and then they die?
There's a well.
Oh.
Good dead.
Well, then the property has not been moved into the trust yet. Then it's not owned by the trust. It's still in the deceased's name, so it's gonna be an intestate succession, but the property will be disposed of by the state.
Any other questions for John? Thank you, John.
Welcome. My pleasure.
This is not.
Thank you.
He doesn't know what's going on, and he's like, Crystal, how are you? Hi, y'all. How are you doing? Good. Good. I have a question. Command app on our phones. Tell me how we feel about it.
Love it.
Yeah, what do you love about it?
You can text back your portfolio number on the app.
You sure can.
I love that it's fast because on my laptop it's not fast. It kind of cycles.
Okay.
And I can get my contact name and then I can get call or email and it's locking it into my command opportunity.
That's my favorite part.
I love that you can look at all of the opportunities when we'll scroll down.
Yeah.
From listing invite, you don't have to click through, you just see your opportunities.
Guru.
When is it gonna start syncing contacts with your phone?
I'm gonna answer that for Crystal.
Wow.
Find other things to be excited about.
You gotta come out of this room and do that, right?
In what way? Guru, in what way? What do you want it to do?
So I get a lead, right? Either
Yeah.
off the phone or whatever, then I gotta put it into my phone and I gotta put it into like it's just like too much contact addition. It'll just
You
cut
don't
down
want to hit the
time.
button that says add to my contacts? There's a
If
button.
it's only coming from online, but if it's not, right, then I have to add it into my phone
Command,
contacts, I
and
have to
then-
add it into command, but if they can sync, I can add it in one place and then it's everywhere.
One day I hope to get you past the I have to click the button in the app that says add it to my contacts. But that's as close as I got for you right now. Okay. If you haven't updated your app in a minute, you should, because last week they rolled out opportunities in your app. What does this mean for you? It means you can look at your business on your phone, not just the people you're in relationship with. I know that was a big ask and it's there. So please, if you haven't updated your app, check it out. One other quick update, and I'll be honest, I haven't gotten to see this update in real life yet. So don't ask me too many questions because I don't have the answers yet. I'll have a big update about it next week. But we've added collections to agent sites. This was a big ask. Think of it like a Pinterest board of real estate that you can add to your website. So you can choose like a saved search, but that lives on your website that you can add your clients to. Your clients can create collections. You can see what they're looking at. They can see what you're looking at. You can add things to their collections. They can tell you what they like, all that kind of stuff. That's really all I know about it. But I'd love to see you all play around with it. Let me know what you think, what your feedback is on it. I know it was a big ask for a feature like that on our agent sites.
Is it the agent sites or the app, agent sites from the app?
Yes.
Okay.
Both and.
Cool.
Excellent question. And if you are one of our newer agents who probably joined us in the last 4 weeks, and your website is not looking branded to you, shoot me an email. I'll walk you through how to fix that. Those are my big tech announcements. I have a few other classes to tell you about, but do we have any burning questions? I don't ask that often, so take advantage. I love it. Everybody's using command at a high level. They know everything they're doing. That's what I heard. Okay. Today in the Federal Way office, shortly after this meeting, I am teaching listings to leads to lifetime relationships. It is one of my favorite courses to teach. We'll talk about how to transition your listings to more leads and then how to stay in relationship with those people. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, you and I can caravan to Federal Way after this and have that conversation. On Thursday, I am teaching Facebook ads best practices. This was a big ask. I'm excited to bring this class to you. This is beyond the point and click of how to run a Facebook ad through command. This is how to get good leads and what to do with them. Best practices for successful ads. I'll have a lot of stats on ads I've been running and how they've been doing and what's working and what doesn't work. So if that is something you're interested in, there are only 10 seats left. So I would say register today. I'm excited about that one. Any questions? Yeah, Hillary.
Did you run this last month or so? Because
I
took
did
a class.
I did a social media general conversation.
this is
This
the
was
next step.
specific to advertising.
Okay, so this is the next step.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, then that's good to know. Thank you. I wasn't sure.
Cool. Any other questions?
What's for lunch?
What is for lunch, Goldie? I don't know yet.
Put it in your
Well,
list.
But it's being sponsored and we're very happy. Okay, cool.
Chips.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Crystal. All right, let's bring up our panelists. The long walk, can you two reposition yourselves to this chair? All right, so for those of you that may or may not have started reading through the book Shift, this is Shift Tactic 3, so it's pretty quick for you guys to get caught up. We will be doing one tactic every week. So I suggest, if you haven't, to start reading the, oh my gosh, just read the book, okay? We're doing the 4 next week. Okay, so Dan, Cheryl, thank you for your time. I'm excited to hang out with you for a little bit and learn all the things.
Again.
Okay, so for those that don't know, can you guys introduce yourselves? Let everybody know kind of how long you've been in the industry and all that fun stuff.
Ladies first.
Okay, so my name is Cheryl Crutcher Dennis, now just Cheryl Dennis. I've been in the business since 1996. I've personally experienced 3 different shifts. No, I don't have COVID. No, I don't have a cold. I'm having a really hard time with my allergies, so hopefully I won't share that with anyone. And that.
My name's Dan Dennis, formerly Dan Dennis. And I've been married to this lovely lady. In July of this year, it'll be 6 years, right? But she's been my business partner longer than that. And that's a long story, and I don't want to get into it. I've been in the business. I got into the business in 1975. I got out of the business in 1980. Gary and I were in the business at the same time. He stayed in, I got out, and I look at where he's at. You know, I'm in this. Maybe I don't know. I got back into the business in 1990. So that puts me what, about 35 years? 35 years. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so what I want this to look like, you guys, is more of a mastermind. So we have an opportunity to pick brains with people that have been through stuff that we haven't, right? So he's been in the industry longer than I've been alive, just putting that out. So it is really a good opportunity for us to ask the questions, learn what they've learned because they've lived it, right? So there's a lot of wisdom and opportunity with that. It's one thing to read a book. It's another to be able to pick someone's brain. So as we kind of sat down yesterday and dug a little bit about their experiences, Cheryl brought a question to my attention that I wanted to start this with. So I want us to visualize a little bit. I want you guys to reflect on the amount of units you sold last year. Okay, you'll have a number?
Yep.
So what if your unit count stayed the exact same this year and your income dropped 50%?
It won't happen.
Thanks to a
What
room.
if?
Let's all go.
There's no what if over
That
there.
would suck.
All the what if is over there.
But for reals though, right? If that happened right now, how many of you guys feel you could make it through that situation? Okay. So that's some of the stuff that we're going to talk about a little bit, right? So Shift Tactic 3 is titled Do More with Less, and it's specific about leverage. When we talk about leverage, what do you guys, what does that word mean to you? Because we throw it around quite a bit, right? So Gary, say that again.
Time.
Who said that? Yes, time. For sure, time. What else does leverage mean?
People. It means if I have somebody who can do some of the task to get me out of the minutia, I can be spending more time where my high dollars are better spent to find the deals.
Yep, yep.
The 20%.
Yes, the 80-20 rule, 100%. So let's shift to you guys a little bit. What do you guys think are some of the first things that agents should do in regards to margining their businesses when we're looking at them going into a shifting market?
Don't drop coaching, don't drop education. Those always seem to be the first to go. And be brutally honest with what you're doing with your time, your money, and everything around that. Just be brutal. And first thing you need to do is find 20% of what you have in your business and cut it, like right now. Second thing you need to do is when you're done with that, cut 10 more. And when you get to that point and you've prepared and it doesn't happen, which as you've indicated, because we've all been dealing with that, you are glad that you did, because you realize how much extra you had that you didn't really need in the first place. Because we get sloppy and it gets easy when everything is easy.
Oh, yeah.
I think of a term that I heard a couple of years back. It's from the Navy SEALs. Slow is fast. Don't be in a hurry. And don't think you're behind. Concentrate on one thing. If it's expenses, sit down, like Cheryl was saying. We're doing this as we speak. We're lopping. We're cutting because we have to. I don't think we're getting into this shift. We are going into a shift, but it's happening very slowly, and then it's going to happen very suddenly. And that's what happened to us in 08 and 09. We were talking about this the other day. We were with another company called Windermere. I think you guys heard of it. And we were sitting there one day, and we were doing okay. But all of a sudden, the phone stopped ringing. It just stopped, like instantly, and we didn't know what was going on. And we looked at each other, and I remember it as plain as day. Said, "What is going on?"
So, with that, you guys have spent the last.
So what I was going to say.
Don't pause.
Okay. Break it, pause. So what I was going to say is the feds are telling us what they're going to do. They're raising the interest rates. I heard that they're close to 5 right now, and they're not going to stop. Somebody who thinks she knows something, we're saying it was going like, what'd you say, 10%?
I think it's going to go double digits.
So.
Calling it. So, okay, hold on. I'm going to jump onto a soapbox for a minute. So I learned while I was out in Austin last week with Gary that consumers are the ones that will dictate how high interest rates go. So if we go all the way back to 1986, 87, when interest rates were 16 to 18%, that was caused by the consumer not willing to slow down on their purchases. And so the feds had to keep raising it. Debbie, am I correct on that?
You are.
That blew my mind, right? So consumers are driving that. So my personal opinion as Lindy is I believe that because we are so hot and heavy with what's going on in our current industry, that consumers are going to continue to be purchasing things. And while we'll hear complaints about everything on social media, right? It's not going to slow them down a lot until we get to that double digit, and then they're going to start feeling the pain. Another thing to be mindful of is they don't just change interest rates for homes. They're going to slow down appliance loans, car loans, and business loans. And this is how the feds kind of turn the faucet on and off. But I literally was like mind blown that consumers were willing to get interest rates all the way up to an 18% before they started to slow down. Rosie.
That's a really good way of explaining it, and I'm going to try and get that out on a real estate blog to our database. But also when we were at family reunion, Gary Keller said, by the end of this year, we're going to be about 8%. Next year, we're going to be into the 10s.
Yeah. You know, ask me the question, when I bought my first house, what was the interest rate?
Okay, so how much was the interest rate when you bought your first house?
17.8%. That was my first home.
Mine was 10.
So
I got out of the business the first time in 79 or 80 because rates went up to 18%. I got out when they were 18%. Would you buy a house for 18%?
I did.
I'm like, yeah.
Are you? Oh, never mind.
And you know what? I don't regret it. I don't think, Because again, going back to that center line, there's always gonna be people in the center buying.
We could draw that.
Yes, and on the same, the wave on each side. So you know what, you guys, depending on what our market
I
you're
can't
in,
draw that.
well,
You
depending depending.
Okay.
None of these markers work,
Use the
but
black one.
there we go.
All right.
Just keep yourself in the center, and you're always gonna have business on this side, and this side, and this side, and this side. There's always gonna be your center line.
Who is gonna be the center line when you guys look at your business? Who always is gonna have to be making a purchase regardless of what's happening with interest rates? What are the life things that happen? Yep.
DD&R,
Divorce,
what?
DD&R,
divorce.
death, divorce, and relocation.
I love that. Have not heard
We've
that.
been using
Spot
it
on.
for years. I love death. I love divorces. And when they relocate, I'm there too.
Oh my God. That's a way to look at it. But yeah, so there's always going to be buyers or sellers that are having to make a move regardless of what's going on with the interest rates because of life, right? What we're seeing now with our current transactions is second homes, upgrading. We're not seeing a lot of investments being bought right now, right? So a lot of that will come back. Jackie?
Your double digit prediction from Lindy's opinion, what are you thinking that prices will be? Because people can't afford a 10%, I mean, a $30,000 house at 18%, sure it's relative to, income at that time.
It was 78.
Right, but it's all relative, right? Like that's a totally different number.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of the day, right? We're talking about 10% of what, $450,000 house, that's a
Completely
$45,000
different.
mortgage.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That's gonna be a fascinating
Okay,
thing to
so let
watch.
me ask, can I answer your question with a question?
Let me
What are-
give them an example for just a second.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
never
I
mind.
bought my house, which was a duplex in West Seattle with a view, okay, 17%. And it was $87,000, okay? It was a duplex, so it had income, all right? So the question is, with these interest rates, then what happens, okay, with the market, okay? And so maybe.
I would actually like Debbie to answer that because you probably saw it from a perspective none of us. As a lender,
What happens
The-
when house prices for that happens?
and interest rates are in double digits.
Okay, 10%.
They're not $400,000 buyers anymore, they're $200,000 buyers.
Well, that's the tough part. Because most of, you've got a chunk of buyers right now that they're not making a lot of money, they're barely making it as it is. And you get in that $300,000 to $400,000 range, and even down payment assistance at 6 1/4. You know, they're pricing themselves right out left and right.
Oh, yeah. Well, and it's weird though, right? Because Jackie, it's gonna be interesting to watch because the pandemic has caused a lot of things or a lot of inflation, right?
Yeah.
We're seeing that in every aspect of everything. I think Mark King used the analogy of put everything that you need for a year, food, resources, whatever, in a shopping cart, and you're looking at like 8% increase,
Yeah.
right? For everything. So because of that, because of that shipping container that got stuck for a hot minute, right? Like, I mean, there's a lot of like weird variables that we can't account for because we've never experienced. That'll be really fascinating to watch.
And
But
you
the
know,
feds can only control one thing, right? And that is interest rates.
Thank you. The Fed, to answer your question, what the Feds are trying to do and will do is they're gonna slow down this market. I mean, it's like last summer, I thought buyers had lost they were stupid. It was like, it was gonna be the last house on earth and I'm gonna spend as much money as I can. And we're gonna put offers and offers and offers until I get one. Just because they didn't think there was another house on earth. The Feds are gonna stop that and they've already started to stop that. One thing that I look at, I value houses, that's all I do. In our team is I put houses on the market. And what I'm starting to see is longer market times. I'm seeing adjustments in listing prices. I'm seeing neighborhoods, I'll go back to where there weren't any houses on the market 3-4 weeks ago, and now there's 3. So it's already started to take effect. It's not going to happen just like that. It's going to happen slowly and suddenly. And so when you sit down, you got to ask yourself, if I'm going to put this house on the market today, and let's say it's worth $100,000, are they going to work with me if I'm going to ask them to reduce it down to 95?
the other thing we're also seeing, and we will see, and I'm sure Debbie can speak into this as well, is adjustable rate mortgages. And, you know, they're not scary if you know how to educate your buyer on them. They are a tool that can be used. The other thing you're going to start seeing is people will partner in purchases. So when I made my first purchase, so we could figure out how the lender creatively financed it, I was like, I have a roommate, I'll figure that out. People are going to just start making different decisions to purchase, to purchase, you know, so I think that's the trend we're going to probably see.
Oh, yeah. Man, this should excite you guys, right? Because this is just going to be a great opportunity for us, as Pam likes to say, to skill up. Because again, going back to that really adorable agent a couple of years ago with the 4 hours listing situation, I used to brag about being able to tell my sellers I can get a home sold in 28 days. Man, they'd be like, no, out. Like, that's terrible, right? But it's going back. It's not new. It's just new for some of us. And we have a great opportunity to piggyback on those that have gone through it and cheat the system a little bit, right? What is it that we can avoid? What is it that we need to double down on in regards to our skills and knowledge? And how do we create this so that we get our unfair share of market? So excited.
Because there is actually an answer to that. And you guys had the last 2 years to do that. If you did it at a high level, what kept us afloat during those times is our database and our sphere of influence. And if you weren't doing your care calls in the last 2 years, that's on you. If you're brand new, what a great opportunity to start. But those people who already know, love, and trust you are the ones that will be there for you when everything else goes away. Internet leads are awesome. Cold leads are awesome. All of that is great. But in truth, those are long-term business plans. And if you're going to get this through this market, and you know what, plan for the worst and hope for the best and hope it lands somewhere in between. But your databases are going to be the ones who will take you there. So get in front of them, spend more time with them.
When you guys say you're locking everything, what does that consist of? Is it your marketing? Is it what parts are you taking out of your business?
Everything, like everything from we do it collectively as a team. We don't make decisions no different than Keller Williams does. We put the people on the team together and we're like, what do you see that we could modify right now? Is it someone now really not having the ability to do full-time what they're doing? Maybe they now do 2 jobs. Or maybe some of our agents are taking on jobs as far as things within the team that they can help with. And for instance, having a whole room full of people putting together all the marketing for 1,000 people, as opposed to one individual being paid by the hour. We now have virtual assistants. We've had them for a few years, but we're utilizing them to the highest level and hiring them just like we would any other human that's here. But let's face it, at $25+ an hour here versus $5 to $7 an hour there, with the gift that we did get with COVID is the fact that you can communicate with a screen. You saw it, John. It's just like you're there with them and they can spend an entire day with you just as if they're a human next to you. And it's really amazing that what we've been able to do with that.
So let's pivot on that a little bit, right? So let's talk about Let's talk about leverage, right? So when we think leverage, at the very beginning, I honestly thought leverage meant heartbeat, right? I need to hire people. Guys, it's 2022. Leverage needs to start with systems and technology, right? So what do you guys have in your world that helps you leverage in that regard outside of heartbeats?
So we have an appointment with Crystal in about 3 weeks. We'll be the first to admit that we didn't onboard with command in the beginning. It didn't facilitate what we had, and we had have such a robust system that we didn't even think about it. Now, as we look ahead, because we love people that matter to us in our world right now, we've probably got about 5 salaries in a system we're spending our money on right now. We will make that adjustment because people at the end of the day matter more than anything else. And if you can do more with less, that's what we're doing.
So,
Or more with more.
to answer your question another way, I mean, if you're spending money on marketing programs, what is your return on it? Look at your ROI.
Yep, every month.
Because if you're not getting, if you're getting dollar for dollar, once, why, go home and mow your lawn or something, because you're not doing anything for yourself. I mean, what I really want to see is 4 to 1. For every dollar I spend, I want to get $4 coming back at us. And are we getting that with some of our programs right now? No, but it's something I'd like to keep pushing towards. I really would. And it's the same thing. We have had a very, everybody can sit there and look at themselves, that we've had an awesome 2 years. It's never supposed to happen that way to real estate agents. We looked at 2 years ago and we thought, oh crap, maybe I should retire at this point. And it turned out pretty doggone good. And we might be a little fat and happy right now. So you guys, I mean, you think I'm kidding? I mean, we have stuff that we just, what is this? Why are we spending money on? Is it returning anything to our people? Is it, is it enriching our souls? Is it doing something for us? If it's not doing anything for you, well, you just made, there's your answer right there.
And you may have to learn how to hand dial. Oh my God, how horrible is that?
Oh,
What does
golly.
that mean?
What,
Like with a ring?
So there's a couple.
no, not a rotary phone.
Siri can do a lot, actually.
There's a couple activities that you guys can do right now for your business to start working towards this, right? So one of them, for those that have separation in your business finance versus your personal finance, is you actually cancel your current card and get a new one, because you'll be really surprised about random subscriptions or things you forgot about that are taking out a little bit at a time. Like, it'll be really big eye opener for you guys to do that activity. Another thing to do is what I would call a tech audit. And this is where you get a brain dump on a paper, whiteboard, wherever, all of the tech you've got and how much it is a month or a year. And it's good to do that, not just in business, but as a whole, right? And it's crazy how leveraged we are, right? Washers and dryers is a leverage. My ear is a leverage, right? Like, we're all leveraged in ways with technology that we really don't think about. So it's a really good activity to spend 30 minutes to figure out where you're leveraged and identify what's in your business of, are you using systems that are doubled, that you can remove one and really focus on the other, right? It's about simplifying, not just financially, but what you're using to be able to double down on your skill and the results, right? Because success is boring as heck. And it's really, really exciting once you're there. You just have to be disciplined enough to build that habit and be simple in the concept of it, right? So Command is fancy as all get out. I still don't know everything it does. Sorry, Crystal. But it'll do a lot of the leverage for you. Yeah.
So when you say leverage, me and my husband own 2 restaurants, and we, our first one is 3 years old, this one's almost a year old, and we re-idolized our list with the POS systems. First POS system was great, but it was like we're not getting anything back.
Mm-hmm.
It's just more tech, more money. So now that we have a new system, we see the difference. Same thing with our payroll. We had to readjust that a couple of times, but it's like, you're right. When you spend money, you sit down and you realize, itemize the list. It's like, dude, we're spending money for no. Like, to make them rich, and we're just paying them every month because we're happy. We don't have to deal with the basics.
Yep.
But when you actually sit down and go over every dollar to spend, half of the shit we didn't think of, excuse me. But we realize that now, it just takes, sometimes it takes, leveraging and actually sitting down, going to the finances. So.
Well, and to give you peace of mind once you do it, right? Because sometimes we just don't know what we don't know, and it feels good in the moment, right? Like, we've been riding this wave of success, and I will not say easy business, but it's been lucrative, right? It's worked out really well for quite a few of us. So to going back to those skills and the basics that we either didn't have to focus on or haven't developed yet is going to be where we're going to be able to go to this next level of business and just kick butt and hit names. And to me, that's really, really exciting. Like, it's a huge opportunity.
And make sure you have reserves.
What is that?
That's a big thing. So Keller
Here's a
Williams.
plug for Dave Ramsey.
Yeah, I know Lindsay has a question. But Keller Williams has a model that you follow that you should have 4.5 months of your reserves. However, if you don't know what your business costs you every single month, how do you even know what a reserve is?
Right.
So if that'd be the first thing I'd figure out, what is it that you're spending every single month on your business to run your business in every element, just like your restaurant. And you go in and you're going to put 4.5 months away. Well, now if you have 4.5 months and a month and a half in your operations account, then you make it 6.
Yes.
Here at this Kent Market Center, I know for a fact that Dennis has 1 year. That's how important it is to him to make sure that the livelihood of all these people continues, because that is how he runs his business. And we've learned a lot from them over the years, and we follow suit, and it's a huge deal. I'll put a plug in too. We're facilitating Financial Peace University. here for,
Mid-May.
yeah, in mid-May. And if nobody knows what that is, I would highly encourage you to take it and or look it up. So you know what the reserves mean, you know how to set yourself up. So your debt snowball or snowball debt, whatever, and your emergency fund and all that is really in place. It's basic, but it really does start there.
How many of you guys would find value if we brought in a couple accountants to hang out for the day and allow you guys to ask questions, bring in your P&L and just sit with a professional?
Ooh, that's big.
Hands, please. Would you guys find value in that?
Yeah.
Perfect. Another plug we can do is we have a finance committee on the ALC that meet every month. This is your opportunity to not only see how the Market Center runs our business, right? We're an open book company, but we also go deep in agents P&L and help you guys understand it at a higher level. Numbers are the story of your business. If you guys don't know how to understand numbers, and I'm not gonna lie, it's not my strength. And it is so vitally important that we grow a really healthy relationship with that so that when there's opportunities for us to either make adjustments or grow into things, we know what to do in that moment. Lindsay.
I just wanted to share for people who are cutting like these different subscriptions, when you do it, take a look. If it's something that you really use all the time, let's say Zoom or Calendly for me is a huge one. Pay for it for the whole year at once and you'll save like 25% most of the time. Smart. So taking a look at what you actually use and pay for it for the whole year, I'll use to keep track of your expenses that way too.
Oh, for sure. Michelle.
Piggybacking off the finance committee, May 12th is our next meeting. And we do an agent review of your P&L and it's completely anonymous. We redact all of your information. But David will move it. It'll be a different day. It'll be a different day, but we do need volunteers to do your P&L. It's not scary, I promise. We take all your information out. Dennis is on the call. We look it over, give you tips and tricks and notes and all of that. So
it's a huge value add.
And to spin off of that as well, because I know there's people in here who have teams, people don't understand that the agents within your team run their own business within your business, just like we run our business within Keller Williams. So any of your teammates that you have on your team should be doing this as well, so that they're all in the same vein as you are. Yep.
Any other questions for these guys while we have them? Yes.
I have a great opportunity for you guys. If you want to call it a shift or an adjustment, or whatever, we're going to see people leaving this business. A lot of good people, maybe even a lot of people that would do well over here with Keller Williams instead of with Brand X. Gary wrote this book, and I was looking at the copyright. I think it was like 1908 or something like that. So I mean, it's like we've been here and we can help people. I mean, I talk to agents all the time that I go, God, I wish you'd come over here. You could do so well. So when you're talking to these people, have them talk to this lady. Your tree's going to grow. It's going to help you with profit share, and maybe you won't think it's going to help you a lot today. It will help you a lot tomorrow. So think of that as you talk to your competing agents or people that you're negotiating with. They're your friends too, and they can do very, very well over here because we came over in 10, and we came over here because we didn't know what the hell was going on.
Yeah, we are a little different than some of those other brokerages in our area in regards to that we only treat you guys like you're a business owner, right? You're not in sales. I say this all the time, check your pockets. We don't have houses in them, right? We run a business and we're in relationships. And Keller Williams has a model for that. Guys, I'm not that smart. I'm really not. All I do is I implement and I learn at a high level so that I can share it with you guys so that you guys can grow further and faster. And I really would love the opportunity, if you have an agent that you care about, that you want to make sure weathers whatever storms coming our way, good, bad, or indifferent, and you want them to be in this industry, because show of hands, how many of you guys have ever had a transaction where you didn't enjoy that agent because they weren't professional and didn't know what they were doing? Okay, remember that people don't know what they don't know. So it's either an opportunity for us to grow them into a skill that where they didn't literally know something different, or people that we want to keep in our industry because they were so high level. It's just an opportunity of inviting them to a class or having a coaching conversation with them. It's not even recruiting. It's just relationships, right? So if you guys have someone in your world, please let me know. I'd love to be a resource for them so that they can make it to the other side as well.
I'm in that world.
Love it. Anything else that you guys want to ask while we've got them in front of us? Pick their brains a little bit.
We will only invite you that, we also
Don't
are
touch
starting
me.
shift on our team. We are in the big classroom every Wednesday from 11:15 to 12:30. If anyone would like to participate, we start actually tomorrow or next Wednesday. I'm not sure, but we would invite you to be in there and do that with us if you'd like.
You're doing the book.
Yeah, we're doing the book as a team, but we have people come in all the time and sit in and participate. It's not having anything to do with being on our team or anything, just helping yourself forward with that.
So what are some things that you tell like your buyers and sellers that are like on the fence about like, oh, I don't know what the market's gonna do. Should we sell now or should we wait? Or, you know, like the interest rates are already 5 and, you know, maybe next month it's gonna be 6. Like, what are you saying to, you know, help calm them? And
Well, right now, waiting, if you're at the top of a market, do you want to be on the other side as it's going down? Because you can chase it too. And we don't know, we don't have a crystal ball, but it definitely can pivot that rapidly. And so, or better yet, if you waited and the market is increasing by 1 or 2% every single month, as is your rent, usually if you're a tenant, then why wouldn't you want to capitalize on that equity growth for yourself instead of not just paying someone else's mortgage, but money's not getting any cheaper either. So you've got to jump in now while there's so many levels of that question that you can go a different direction with a lot of it.
It all starts with motivation. What's their motivation? I mean, do they have to go down to Texas because they got a job waiting down there? They're highly motivated because they're going to make more money. If they got 2 kids, you know, and they have a third on the way, what's their motivation? I mean, work with the motivated. That's what Gary says. Work with the motivated.
If they're on the fence,
It's going to make your life
just let them
whole
sit
lot
there.
easier.
yeah.
Yeah, the people sit there and think about it. If you want to list their house and they go, I don't know what I'm going to do, and let's try it at this, are they motivated? I mean, you're wasting your time, and your time is valuable.
Yeah.
Go find someone that's motivated. Your life's going to be a whole lot easier.
Yeah, totally.
Erica, I used to do a visual for listing or clients that were listing that were questioning that, right? And that was before this crazy market. So Erica, I'm going to draw a bell curve and I want you to tell me when I get to the top.
Yeah.
There.
Oh.
You missed it, right? So it's just a visual, right? We will not know that we're at the top until it's past us. So what we do know, right, is I'm really educated, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, on what the market's doing right now and what I'm doing for my clients to get them the most money with the least stress. So I'd love to talk to you about the strategy of how I'm doing that in this current market. And your time is I'll respect that. But what I can tell you is we don't know when this is going to happen. And when we're talking about, you know, how much money you're going to net from that, that was going to make a big impact on your family, right? And I really want that for you. So if you want to wait a couple weeks where I don't know what's going to happen, we can do that. Or we can really position you in a market where I'm currently very knowledgeable about because I'm living in it, and we can get you the most bang for your buck and get that job taken care of at a really high level. Does that sound okay?
Yes.
Perfect. Let's do the right thing. Right? So it just goes back to we don't have a magic ball, right, with all the answers. We just know about the moment we're in right now, and it's educating them in real time and helping them understand that.
Yeah.
I think we're kind of here, by the way.
Mhm.
Again, living personal, nothing more. Gary
Yeah,
taught
10%.
me something. This is just my self-talk, right? So I'm self-talking to myself right now. I think we're past the top. And I think we're starting to go down. These are real conversations that you guys can have with every single person in your world. And I'm talking like you're standing in line at a gas station. Do you guys see what's going on with the real estate market right now? Everybody wants to talk real estate. So why aren't we in deeper conversations constantly and being the expert? Man, we could educate, right? But that's what I would do is I'd physically draw that. Perfect. Because they're never gonna get it. And if they do, I'd be like, I need to go buy a lottery ticket. I'll be right back. You know what I mean? Right. So, perfect. Thank you guys for sharing your time. I really appreciate it. We're gonna start with Miss Heidi.
So Friday is Earth Day.
Woo!
I put together a community neighborhood garbage cleanup. I'm partnering with Metro Parks. They're donating all the garbage bags. It'll be in Tacoma at DeLong Park. Meet at DeLong Park at 4. I'll hand out supplies and pickers and stuff. If you have extra pickers and you want to bring them, they are welcome because I feel like I'm gonna run out. And then
What's a
after
picker?
party is at beer. What was that?
What's a picker?
Like a garbage picker, so you don't have to bend down and pick
Oh.
it
You'll
out.
need it down.
After party at Beer Star, free pizza and beer. Papa John's is donating a pizza and also free pizza tickets to give to participants. I'll have some Earth Day trivia. Gotta lure people in somehow to pick up trash. So I would love, I have a bunch of, it's called Moop Walk, which is a Burning Man term for matter out of place, means trash, garbage, rubbish. I say it so I don't have to explain it every single time, but it is called Moop Walk. I'd love for everyone who wants to participate to come. I'll hand a few of these out if you guys. Take one if you want one.
Thank you, thank you. All right, couple more announcements before we hit the ground running for the rest of the week. We've got, those are cute shirts, Randy. Okay, so, May 12th, Mo Anderson's birthday is celebrated at Red Day. This is an opportunity for us to go out into our community that's been,
It's my birthday too.
well, it was Mo's first.
Not
It's our
by much.
opportunity to go out into our community and give back to those that have been so good to us. We've got a couple different options of physical activity for those like to get their hands dirty, for those that maybe don't have that opportunity or time availability. We've got other options to plug in as well,
Yeah,
correct?
there'll be a sign up fee this out real soon.
Perfect. Okay. I really like the shirts though, a
In your
lot.
email.
Couple classes to continue sharpening our skills. We've got Form 22A, Form 35E. Taught April 11th and May 9th. We also have all of these recorded. So if you're going through a transaction now, whether it's a modular or land that you may have missed a class, that can be found on our YouTube channel called
RB Training Channel.
that. So you can plug in and look at things if you may have missed it. Career visioning. So this goes back to leverage, right? We've gotten really good at understanding real estate, buying, selling, and working with clients. One skill that we have opportunity to continue to grow in is the hiring process. Of course, Keller Williams has a system for that. They call it career visioning. It's taught by Lucas, who's phenomenal and really good. Gary wants us to take this 20 times as fast as we can. So if you're in a position to start hiring within the next year or so, start taking this class now. So you understand how to validate a KPA, how to go through thought process, motivational story, and motivational interview and life story. So that you guys can make the best hire and grow your org chart. So that's going to be held local at Seattle, April 27th through the 28th. In person, there's 90 heartbeats allowed in that room, and we're getting close to max out. So those that's on your radar and you're growing towards that, please, please, please invest in yourself and your future hire. Yeah.
Are we gonna have someone local do person every year?
We're going to try our very best.
Yeah, it's the region.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. Oh, ESL, my favorite. So expansion is another opportunity for those that have mastered their local market, have built really strong, what we refer to as a hub, meaning your systems and your admin to be able to expand your identity into a different location, right? So expansion just allows you to grow further and faster. Something that I really get geeked out on because it's super messy. For those that have interest in expansion or wanting to go that way, please connect. I'd love to have conversations, but we do have Cody Gibson coming as local as we can to Boise, Idaho, teaching ESO. This is mandatory for anybody wanting to get into expansion for KW to give you that permission to be an expansionist. Really
You know what
fun
I'm
class.
noticing too? These classes are all half the price that they were a couple years ago.
They are. True.
Every one of them.
It's true.
Awesome.
Yep, and that's taught by Cody Gibson, who is KWI's, he leads that network. And then Mega Camp is going to be August 23rd to the 24th. We're going back to what I refer to as the OG Mega Camp, meaning it really is specialized towards the megas, the top producers, 10 million and up. So I don't know about you guys, but I really love being the dumbest one in a room because you can't help but grow, right? So to expose yourself by those that are doing production at a higher level, have built things out where you're wanting to go, this is your opportunity to be in that same space with them and pick their brains. So that's going to be in Austin. It's really hot. August 23rd to the 24th. So I'd love to see you guys there as well. Have a really good